Hello, and welcome to the Here to Uplift podcast, where we center the stories of impactful changemakers, entrepreneurs, and community leaders who have done the hard work of uplifting themselves through adversity to get where they are today, and now uplift others along the way in their journeys. I'm Lolo Fisher, your host, lover of all things wellness, healing, and empowerment, and I would greatly appreciate if you show us your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with others. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Here to Uplift podcast. I am here with my special guest, Lacey Rochelle, and I'm super excited for our conversation because even as we're just like getting into the room and setting up, we were already getting into deep topics that we were like, wait, we should be writing this down. There's so many good things. So if y'all are ready for the juice, we're going to get right into it. Lacey, will you please introduce yourself for the folks?
Absolutely. So my name is Lacey Rochelle. I am a poet. I am an author. I am a pre-licensed marriage and family therapist. But most importantly, I'm a lover of Jesus.
AA. AA, man. Okay, so I think with that being said, most importantly, a lover of Jesus, let's jump right into that piece on faith and prayer because we were starting to talk about this before we pressed record.
Yes.
But when we're talking about our healing journeys, there's so much that happens internally that other folks will see outwardly, but they don't really know what's going on with us. And healing can be I'll say apart from God in some people's lives in the way they describe it. But I know for you and I, like our healing is so deeply tied to our faith. Yeah.
Sure.
So like, tell me what that has looked like for you in terms of where you started your healing journey versus where you are now.
I don't even know like where I started it, to be honest, when I think about it. But I was talking to my friend literally right before. And we were talking about how everyone has a different definition of what it means to heal, like what it looks like, and how people are so ready to invest in coping techniques.
Ooh,
they're so ready
say more.
They're so willing to invest in bottle service and alcohol and let me go buy something and things people can look at, right? At fancy cars or whatever. But they're not as willing to invest in a wellness retreat.
Yeah.
Or in a therapist. Or
work.
In a book that has a workbook and spending the time to actually go through that workbook and do the assignments that are in the workbook. The work of it. So a year ago, I was already starting to take clients. And I had lost a lot of people in 2022.
As a therapist?
2022. Yes.
Okay.
I had just started taking clients as a therapist in grad school. And I had lost, my cousin had passed away. She was like 43. Like she went to the hospital and didn't come out. Like it was a shock.
No,
my first cousin.
That's
and
the worst.
Unfortunately, a lot of people have normalized, losing family members and stuff. But this was the first, outside of my grandparents. You expect your grandparents
Doesn't
to
mean
die.
It hurts any less.
It hurts. But it's like you expect your grandparents to die. You don't expect your 44-year-old cousin to go to the hospital and then she's just gone.
Right.
So that happened, and then like 2 weeks later my best friend's mom passed away, and then like trigger warning, suicide. Then a couple days later, one of the girls I grew up singing with in church committed suicide. And all of this is while I'm in grad school, taking on new clients, dealing with
trying to help other people when all this is happening in your own life,
dealing with imposter syndrome, like should I even be here, like all that at one time. And I was like, okay, I really need to go to therapy. And even as a person that was doing it for others, it was really hard for me to picture myself on the other side. Yeah. It was really hard for me to go. Yeah. But like once I did, and it's been a year, like I definitely say that therapy was almost a catalyst to make me believe that the voices and the things I was hearing and things that I believed about my own faith, even as a child, were true. And that helped me to want to reconnect my relationship with God.
Okay. Yeah. So it was going back to like limiting beliefs or like childhood beliefs that started that breakdown of like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I've never said this publicly, but like I used to have like these prophetic dreams as a kid. And I would go tell my family or other people about these dreams, and they're like, Nobody didn't see that. Believe you. I'm like, I did see that. It just happened in my dream. Or I would get like, I would be around certain people. I'd be like, this is not right. Like something is wrong with this person. Like, and I would communicate that. You're a kid. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not happening. Like all that kind of stuff. So then like through life, you start to doubt yourself. Yep. And then it's like, is God talking to me? Am I talking to me? Is this my fear? Is this my anxiety talking? Is this another kind of spirit talking? Like, what is going on here?
Absolutely.
And going to therapy helped me to trust myself, which helped me to trust God. Again.
Yeah, again, right. Yeah. It's returning to that original gift, really, because it is a gift.
Going back to your first love.
Yeah. You know what? That's interesting because I had a sisterhood night at my church last night.
I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah. And they literally were saying your exact words right now of making sure we're going back to Jesus as our first love and that it should be a first love experience. And I was like, like I didn't think of it that way. And just hearing you already, everything's in alignment, right?
Yeah.
But it connects to, it wasn't our last series at church, but maybe 2 series ago was called Call Me Crazy. And I feel like I've been in so many situations where I think I'm being called by God, but I question it because to the external world, it's going to come out crazy. And I say external world, but a lot of times it's the people that are closest to you because those are the ones that actually affect you most. Like,
sure.
How do I tell my parents this? How do I tell my family that I'm feeling called to like switch something major in my life or like to move, to listen, whatever this looks like. And it's not... There are times where anxiety gets to us, of course, but I'm like, I know when this is like, God is moving in me. For me, I feel it in my like solar plexus area. Like I feel something in here when I know it's God talking to me versus my own thoughts, which I feel very heavy in the head space. It's like deeper into my intuition, just like when you can go around people and kind of read energy, feel things. Like I think it's that empath side, but I'm like, I know when it's God because it's right here. It's right here. It's not gut. It's right here. Like it's
interesting
this pull for me. But I think I was challenged with because I'll say growing up, but particularly young adult years, the periods of time that I was heavily involved in the church and had kind of the ups and downs in my faith was a time when I was getting frustrated with God because I was like, why can't I hear you like other people hear you? People have dreams. People say they hear your voice. Or, there's this sign. Like I was praying on this and then this sign came out and I was like, I'm not getting that. What is it? And it was like he was speaking to me differently. And it was at the same time while I was in grad school that I was learning about how we learn in general, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm a feeler, like physical feeling, kinesthetic learner. And I realized God was talking to me in that same way. When I would dance, when I would move, I would feel these pulls and intuition. And I know there was my therapist actually talked to me about this, like the indigenous practice of string cutting, right? Or cord cutting, depending on how you want to phrase it. But it's metaphorical, but for like the cords that are holding you back. Like what you're tying yourself to.
Yeah, that's good.
And that in indigenous practices, there was actually like you would cord cut. So you would do movement that symbolized cutting those cords. And when I started doing that and mixing it with my prayer life, I think that's even a challenge because some folks are like, well, that's, not a godly practice mixing with a godly practice. And I'm like, no, it's just a physical movement of my prayer.
Right.
Like, and once I started doing that, I'm like
I'm praise dancing.
I hear God. Really? And that's all it was.
Yeah.
And my therapist challenged me to do that. She's like, you're on the praise dance team. Like, go cord cut as a prayer and like just turn a song on and see what happens. Start asking God to show you what you need to cut, what those things are. And this is years ago, that's one of my most distinct memories of realizing how God spoke to me.
I love that because it's like we often compare like how God speaks to us in comparison to someone else. And even I tell people like I've realized that God sometimes have to resort to a dream to me for me to listen. It's like I showed you a TikTok. I had a person come tell you. I sent a bird, a pigeon, a plane, a boat. At this point, you need a private jet.
Right.
At this point, you need this.
Like waiting God.
No, it's kidding. But at this point, you need a dream for you to actually see it. So it's like someone might be like, oh, dang, I don't dream. Yeah. But it's like you got it just from one thing. It took God 12 things for my hard head to finally be like, oh, that's what you were trying to tell me. Okay.
Isn't that there's like a story of like the man in the boat who was drowning or something, right?
Yes.
And he's like, I sent you a boat. Like, I sent you people to come rescue you. I sent you a plane. And you just kept saying, no, like,
I'm like,
God will come for me. And I'm like, God is giving you all these resources. And he wants to use somebody to reach you.
He gave you a hammer, wood, plywood, nails,
but you only
everything.
Want to do it your way.
But if the house is not already built, you're like, no thanks.
How many times do we do that in our lives? Ooh, okay. Message. But there's things that you're saying right now that I feel like there's two big points here that are so good for us to kind of lean into. One being that you were talking originally about healing being the work side, not just about the coping mechanisms that we invest in in some ways. But investing in healing, real transformational healing, is not pretty. I think that's the truth that people don't want to accept, that we don't want to accept even sometimes until you realize the power of it. And that goes side by side to what else I hear you saying, which is the danger of comparison. So when we think about even comparing our healing journeys, a lot of times it is on social media or what we're seeing in terms of, how do I heal? I want to get through this trauma, whatever this looks like. And we think it's pretty on other people. So we start mimicking that, but it is just coping mechanisms a lot of time. I'm going to go on vacation.
You're running.
Look good. Dressing yourself up can be beneficial for you, but is that healing work, or is that the result of the healing work that's happening behind the scenes?
Like, literally, I said that 5 minutes ago. Yeah. I'm getting so excited because it's like, you see people that they buy the car, they buy the things, and there are people that live a certain way on social media that also live that way off social media, 100%. There are also a lot of people that flex, and then their bank accounts are in the negative. They're having struggles in other areas, whatever. But the highlight reel is real pretty on Instagram. The
highlight reel,
right? But versus you reading your Bible every day and having the discipline to read the Bible. And I don't care. Like, I understand that we live in a culture that is like everyone, like, God is love and God is acceptance, all these things. But there are some things that you'll read in the Bible that you're going to be offended.
Yes, God is also discipline.
Offended. Like, what? And like, I remember when I really surrendered to God, my new birthday is October 30th. That's when I got baptized last year. So I'll be 1 year old on October 30th.
Congrats.
Thank you. But after I got baptized, it was like God started to strip so many things from me. And I'm like, God, do you hate me? Like, I thought you loved me.
All these,
like
the things that you perceived as good?
Yeah. Things that I had put my identity in. Things that I thought were so like central to me, like things that made me feel good or whatever. Like, he just started stripping certain things off of me. Like, even me doing my makeup today. Yeah. Like, you
went through a period of time where you didn't wear makeup, right?
I used to have to wear makeup to leave the house.
Because when we met, you weren't wearing makeup. I remember that because you made a point about it, I think, within the poem that I heard you say. Yeah.
I used to have to wear makeup to leave the house, or it was like I would go somewhere 2-3 hours late because like my makeup is not right, my hair's not right, and I'm just stressed or whatever. Like, and God had to took me through a period of months where like he was like, you can do your eyebrows, you can put some some lip gloss on, some mascara, but that's it. Like, you're not putting no makeup on. I'm like, you hate me. And then like, that's just one example, but it's like, then I realized, oh, like, I just couldn't leave the house without this. I felt insecure without this.
Okay, so it was about the insecurity?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, he had to allow me to look myself in the mirror, ugly, crying, like, oh my gosh, I don't think this girl is pretty.
This is what you believed about yourself.
But I would have never even thought about that until then I'm in public and I'm acting the same way with no makeup on as I would have with a full face, the nice outfit, my nails done, whatever. Taking me outside, my nails not done, my hair's not done. I look kind of crazy. I have no makeup on, and I'm still effervescent. I'm still jovial.
And
I'm still happy.
You know, that's going to be my question because, you know, there's an internal and an external aspect to this part too. But how were people responding to you? Any differently when you were wearing makeup than when you weren't?
Who?
I'm super curious because I know it's an internal
yes and no
transformation.
Yes and no. So there were like times where it's like, for example, I'm out like around people that know me or just in public in general. Like a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, you're glowing. Your skin is getting so clear. Like, you know, they would be complimenting the fact that I didn't have makeup on. And then also I was realizing like the men that were approaching me, it felt different. Like it's really hard to explain, but like it was more about the internal glow and the internal
they were
way.
Seeing your confidence.
Yeah, they were like, it's
yourself.
so confident that she's just out like this, and she's still like talking to everyone and networking and talking and like going this and just being herself. And I'm not like shrinking in a way. Because there have been times where it's like I had a full face of makeup on. I had all these things, but like maybe one curl didn't curl right or didn't dry properly. You know what I mean?
We just like flip out
and
over
it just ruins the whole day. I'm hideous. Like, I mean, it's just so dramatic. Like, it's not that serious. Like, and if it is that serious for some people, I understand because I've been there. But it's like God had to heal me through that by putting me in a situation. My hair was falling out. So all of like
from stress.
All of 2022, my hair was done. It was either in braids or like in little twists or whatever. And I went to get my hair done. I had a weave for my birthday last year. I went to get my hair done from my friend, and she's like, I'm not doing your hair for a while. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was, again, offended.
Right.
But she's like, Lacey, your hair is falling out by the root. Like, you're stressed out. Like, if I keep doing your hair, you're not going to have any hair.
She's like, I'm saying this in love.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. She's like, this is what you need to do. You need to do this deep conditioning. You need to do this. You need to be more intentional. You need to eat this. Like, she tells me what to do. She's like, I'm not doing your hair. So not only is God telling me I can't wear makeup, now my best friend, one of my best friends, is like, I'm not doing your hair. So now I have to learn how to love myself for the person that I am when I wake up in the morning.
Yep. Without any mask.
And the first time, I'm getting emotional, but the first time I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm so pretty. Like, I just got so excited because I was like, I actually think I'm pretty. Like, I'm actually like, my hair, my hair wasn't even done. Like, literally took my bonnet off. You know, you take your bonnet off, your hair's kind of like everywhere. Like, I took my bonnet off, look at the mirror, hadn't even done my eyebrows yet or nothing. I'm just like, I love you. Like, you're so beautiful. And your heart is so, and I'm talking to myself in the mirror, like crying. Like, I can't believe you ever thought that you were ugly. Like, I apologize. Like,
but we're so mean to ourselves.
So mean.
We're so mean
to
ourselves.
So mean. And now it's like, God has changed my mind about it. Like, I don't have to wear makeup. But if I'm gonna be on TV or recorded or, you know, anything.
Now it's an accessory because it's fun. It's not because it's necessary.
I'm like, ooh, I'm painted today. But when I wash my face off, I'm still painted. You know, I'm still that girl.
Yeah.
But that was part of healing.
Part of that journey.
For sure.
Well, which leads me to the question, because as I hear you say this, while I think I've had a different experience when it comes to like makeup and hair.
Yeah.
I very much have these same thought processes behind it when it comes to body image in general. And that's been one of my challenges personally through my life. One of the insecurities that started, you know, I would say high school probably was like when it really started, because being in predominantly white communities, and even though now I look at pictures and I was like, girl, you were skinny as hell. Like, you were fit.
Perception is everything.
The fittest you've ever been in your life. But, you know, it was always comparison. I'm comparing myself to people with completely different backgrounds, like blah, blah, blah. Anyways, body image has been a challenge throughout life. And I've done so much healing work around it, and yet there are still those days where I look in the mirror, and it could be last week I had that moment you had where I'm newly pregnant, and I'm like, you can actually see a baby bump. I'm all excited.
It's bumping
like,
too.
I've been
so
wanting
good.
this for like so long in my life to imagine myself pregnant. Like I've imagined it and now it's here. And then a week later, I'm like, I feel like a heffalump. I feel fat. I'm like, what is happening? Like, will it snap back? And there's all these thoughts that are negative and go back to that root of like the body image issues that came from so long ago. So my question to you is, if you have those moments, now that you've seen yourself in a different light, do you have those moments where you're trying to, something, the devil is pulling you back into that mindset?
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Because he has no power nowhere. But anyway, so absolutely 100%. Because my family, and a lot of that comes from my family, because my mom is super tiny. Like my mom is 4'10". I have 9 siblings, so she's given plenty of births, had plenty of pregnancies. And like her perception of her body is so misconstrued. It's crazy. Like I feel like a giant next to her.
Wow.
And she's like, I'm so big. And I'm like, Mom, where? Big where? You know? But there have been times where, and I had to talk to them about this, I would drive home. I live from Stockton, so it's like an hour, 15-minute on average drive. Okay. And the first thing my parents tell me when I get home, oh, your butt is so big. Oh, your cheeks look rounder. Or I'm like, why are we talking about how I look? Like, you're not going to ask me how my day was, how my drive was, like nothing. It's just like my body the second I walk in. So I've had both spectrums where it's like I grew up super skinny, curly hair, was called a mop, like teased all the time. Like felt as though I don't like look like any of the black girls, and the other races are allowed to be skinny and they're still attracted to those skinny girls, but I'm skinny, so I'm unattractive because I'm also black.
You're not thick enough, but you're not tall enough, you're not short enough.
You know, always something. You know. So I'm like, okay. And then I had a period of my life where I was really trying to gain weight, and I was also smoking a lot, and so I was eating a lot, and there were some pictures I look and I'm like, ooh, I look so thick and so juicy, and like I look so good. And then I go home and my parents are like, oh, you look fat.
You're like, we just can't win.
And I'm like, so I'm fat now. And then I go and I sit in a car and it was like, Lacey, you're so small, come sit in the middle. So it's like now I'm feeling insecure because now I'm like, I'm too skinny. So it's like that back and forth between whatever. But so yeah, I do still sometimes have those thoughts, but I feel like with our faith, like you're gonna have those thoughts,
which is what I was gonna say. How do you fight it in that moment?
I tell myself what God says about me. God says that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I have on my bed, like behind my bed, I used to have this picture of me naked, and that was one thing. Like I couldn't sleep one night, and God was like, take that picture down. And I was like, and I'm like, what's wrong with my picture? Like,
did you put it up as a reminder for confidence?
I just thought it was a bomb picture. I was like, you look.
So it was a confidence picture.
I'm like, you look good. And he told me to take it down, and I was like, okay. I took it down.
Okay.
And then it took me a minute to replace it, but I replaced it with this huge print of Jeremiah 29:11.
My favorite verse.
Period.
My favorite.
And so it's like I remind myself, like, God knows the plans he has for me, thoughts to prosper me, not to harm me. When I call on him, he's going to answer me, and he's going to show up for me. He reminds me who I am. Right. So if I'm like, I'm fat today, I'm like, God says I'm beautiful. I'm too skinny today. God says I'm perfect. God says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like there is no error. God does not make any mistakes. Like God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Right. I am good. All his he said when he created me that I was good. So I don't have to compare what I look like to anybody else. I am good, stand alone by myself. Yeah.
This is powerful because I think the piece of us being mean to ourselves is also just the factor of the lies that we accept about ourselves. And
absolutely,
those lies, they might come from the devil, they might come from the people you love, but they are lies.
That could be the devil
at the end of the day. Right. Because hurt people it could be, it's not even about the person, it's not about who you hear it from.
It's not.
It's about finding the truth again and returning to that first love experience. But I hate it because there's so many people who never even had that first love experience to return to.
To know what it looks like.
Yeah.
That makes me really sad.
But then it's also super powerful when they find
True.
their faith, and it's like,
True.
like that's when I get my Baptist Protestant church days. Like I'm foot stomping, like we ready, you know. But that's the truth of it, is like you're either returning to something that at the time you might have felt crazy or foreign for, or you're finding something brand new that is a light within you that you didn't even know you had.
Yes, that is so amazing. And it's really beautiful to watch and also to experience, because it's like, I tell people all the time, I never stopped believing in God. Never. I've never had a moment in my life where I did not believe in God. But there have been so many times where it was like, I don't believe that what this says in the Bible applies to me. I don't believe that you love me. Right. I believe you love the world and you love the creation, but I'm not included in that.
Yeah. Like we exclude ourselves. Like,
yeah, I believe
matter. This, but how does that even apply to me? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I think you left me off the list when you were talking about that. Like that scripture in Jeremiah, you're talking to Jeremiah specifically. Like you're not talking to Lacey.
Like the Old Testament doesn't apply to me, right?
Like,
what?
Yeah, like, you know, what are you talking about? But like, I had this beautiful. This is so funny, but I had this beautiful encounter.
Okay.
In my room, I was off of edible, high, super high, and I was playing worship music when I was off this edible.
Interesting.
And that's why I don't judge. Okay. Anyways, so I'm off this edible and I'm doing worship music and I'm crying and I'm like, God, I love you. Like, forgive me. Like all these things. I started speaking in tongues.
Really?
This is like in November, December. And I was so confused.
Yeah. Because
it's like, I grew up in Pentecostal church too.
Yeah.
So I always have spoken in tongues. I've literally heard a demon talk. Seen it, heard it be cast out, saw someone smaller than me right now be carried in a church by 5 men and them struggling to carry her. Like I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been in a park with someone and have that person fall over me and literally like feel their body differently, touch them, plead the blood of Jesus over them, and then be like, the blood of Jesus, and feel like energy like trying to come into my hand and couldn't because I was pleading the blood of Jesus. And then that person wake back up and be like, Lacey, how long was I gone? Like I've had those kind of experiences. So I fully believe in both sides. And well, let me change the way I say that.
Okay.
I believe that the dark side is real.
Yes.
But in that it has a level of power, but that God has all power. Jesus has all power. Anyways, so what was I even saying?
We're going back to we've gone to so many places, but we're talking about the go for it.
I think I got it.
I see it in your face.
I think I got it.
Okay.
We were talking about going back to your first love, and I was talking about how this encounter when I'm high, right? So I start speaking in tongues. It made me confused because I'm like, is there a war in heaven going on right now for my soul? I literally thought that. I was like, is God and the devil fighting, and that's why I'm speaking in tongues, because I can't fight for myself? And I don't know what I said. I have no clue. I don't know what I was saying.
And you were alone.
I was alone in my room. And again, that's another thing about healing. A lot of the stuff you don't see. I'm sitting there literally crying, and I'm so confused because I'm like, okay, God, do you not want me to be high? Like, are you fighting for me right now because I'm high? Like, am I getting, is this illegal access to like the heavenly realm? I was so confused. I'm like, what just happened? Like,
yeah.
And maybe like a month ago, I spoke in tongues again, just in my room by myself.
Okay.
And I was sober. And I was like, oh, I don't need the weed.
I could just, happening.
I was like, I could just connect, just me without the weed. Like, this is kind of cool, you know?
But it was after this healing journey and transformation of you really knowing who you are without the masks and layers and coping mechanisms, as we've said. Yeah.
Coping mechanisms. God bless the coping mechanisms.
Okay.
They do their job for their season.
Right. And they treat symptoms, not the root. Right.
You gonna make me want to get up and run. I just want to shout to that.
I haven't been in the Pentecostal or Black church in a while, but you know, we gonna run some laps around here later.
Listen, because the root is the pain, and it's like, I even thinking of like therapy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in church are so anti-therapy. They're like, you don't need to go to therapy.
Truth.
Like, that's fake. They made that up or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's great. That's awesome. You're sounding real prideful to me. But, you know, maybe you need to go to deliverance since, you know, God is so powerful. And God is so powerful. But you're like, all right, I need to read my Bible and I'm fine. Okay, I'm glad you believe that. Go get deliverance. Okay, I'm going to go to therapy and I'm going to get support.
Right.
And I'm going to talk through these things. And I'm also going to pray for God to deliver me from these things and take it from me.
Yeah.
Because I cannot do this on my own strength. Because the root is so like, a lot of it is deception, like you said.
Absolutely.
Like the lies. The therapy is going to help me. But I really need you to change my mind. I need you to cleanse my heart. I need you to do that work in me so that I can really believe these things.
Yes. Yeah. And I think so I'll say it this way. The root of insecurity, I feel like, is lies. The root of worry, in anxiety for me at least, is the fear. And when those two come together, it feels like your world is going to end. But what I've been noticing in my recent faith journey and what God's working on in me is I have an awareness now when it's a lie, when it's fear, when it's, you know, something that's not of me or of God speaking inside, but the battle, I can feel the battle. So it's not like it just goes away for me currently, you know. Well, God's still working on it.
I don't know if I mean, does it ever go away? Like,
well, and that's the thing. And I think that was in my mind. I expected that when I give it to God, it goes away. And what it actually looks like is when I give it to God, I have this newfound awareness that this is not of him, but I still have to make the choice in this moment to battle it. And I will maybe, you know, sometimes my anxiety would last a whole day, you know, of just like turmoil inside, or, you know, it erupts into that bigger anxiety attack, panic attack. Now, while they're not gone completely from my life, because it's a process, you know,
for sure,
it's like the awareness I have and like God working in me and speaking to me in these moments is there's probably about an hour where externally I think it would look like I'm just like zoned out.
But that
and even
mind
my
is on
family,
war.
You know, my partner, my stepson, they see it and they're like, you're not breaking down emotionally in the same way that we've seen it in the past, but you're also not light
engaged
and up and engaged. And I can communicate now with them like there's a battle going inside my mind, and they know what I mean because we've found a way to communicate it with each other.
That's so beautiful.
But it is still hard for me because my desire is just get rid of it completely. I don't want it anymore. But while that is absolutely possible and God could do that, that's not what he's doing in me right now. And I know it's for a reason. And I think that's the other piece of it is the battles we go through. It's not that God's like, I want you to be in pain.
Literally.
But there's a reason for everything. And now it's almost like I can take it as a blessing because I know what it felt like when it felt like the very, very bottom, or like this anxiety attack, like I'm going to die from hyperventilating. I don't know what's going to happen from here. And now I can say the battle's still going to come.
Yep.
But you got to believe it's for a reason and it's temporary, that there's a light at the end, and let him fight for you.
And that is already won.
It's already won. So I still feel it right now as much as I don't have to like it. We don't like everything God's doing in our lives sometimes. But I have to know that it's better for me than what I would choose for myself.
I even told my homegirl today, and I think this is beautiful to say to you since you're like, you're biracial yourself and you're in like an intercultural marriage. I've always been very like, I even wrote a poem called Black Man's Wife. Like I'm not, it's like, it's a no for me, you know? And I was in prayer and I was just like, you know, in worship, and my heart is so fragile in the beautifulest way. Like I feel like I'm so sensitive, and because God made me that way, it helps me to like feel him so powerfully and like discern things. But I told God, I was like, you know, God, I surrender everything to you. Everything I want,
easier said than done.
everything I ask for, I surrender it to you. And I was like, God, if he's not Black, if it's your best, I'll accept it. God, if it's not this city, if it's not this place, if it's not this situation, whatever I accept whatever you have from me because I truly trust that you're smarter than me. You love me way more than I could ever love myself, and that you see things I can't see. So I'm just gonna surrender.
He has a plan.
I'm just gonna give it to you because clearly what I'm doing is not working.
Right. Like, I gotta break some of these patterns, which means I gotta get real and just like let you handle this because my choices aren't working.
Just let you handle this.
It's true. I mean, Anthony and I always joke, like, we did not like each other in the attractive way. Like, we were not attracted to each other at first. Like, God truly brought us together, and he brought us together at the time it needed to happen, because we were friends for multiple years before we started dating. And while we were friends, we were just learning each other. And I've never learned somebody this much before being in a relationship with them. Which
matters.
And it matters. And, you know, God changed the way we saw each other exactly when it needed to happen. I believe it. Because, we're not each other's type. You know, as we would quote say, like, I've always been like, I don't have a type. I just...
And my friends be like, Lacey, you're lying.
But, you know, when everybody looks the same in the past, then it's like, oh, maybe I did.
But
I don't
see,
know.
I don't even have that story. It's like they don't look the same. They're all black.
To me, that was it. That's all.
But there's like
they were all
dark
different
skin, light
looking.
skin, short hair, dreads, locks, whatever you want to call it.
It's true though.
You know?
Yeah. Same. So same. They were all different looking to me, but I guess the pattern was that they were all black men. You know, so which even my dad, who is white, is like, you don't like us, like. You know what, in what I would say, what I would communicate before I found my person now, you know, what I would communicate to my friends who would be like, one, I didn't actually date much at all, period. Like, the relationships I was in were always I don't know, like, I would date that person and it would turn into a relationship. Like, I wasn't somebody who was dating a lot of people. I didn't get asked out a lot, period. I was told that I was super intimidating, or that I was just such a workaholic and doing so much that, like, nobody would even want to have time with me. And I would communicate it as, like, it's not my priority. Like, dating is not at the forefront of my mind right now. And when it comes to attraction, I've never been that person where I'm like looking around like, oh, that might fine. Ooh, like, it's just never been me. Like, I'm such a sapiosexual. Like, I have to have a deep intellectual conversation with you, something that makes me think, some kind of connection point for me to even be interested. So I had to learn that about myself. Why I'm like, why does everybody have like these reactions like to physical attraction? And I'm a physical touch person, but
it's not just
appearance didn't do anything for me. Like, after the fact,
it's like once
I've connected with you, and then I'm like, you're so cute,
you're so cute. Yeah.
You know, like, I know my man fine. Like,
or someone becomes more attractive the more you get into the way they think.
Absolutely, my man right now, I think he is crazy fine. Like, he's mine. Like, he's my type of fine. But I only saw that after we had already connected on a deeper level and had critical conversations where he's challenging me and making me think different. Like, I needed that, and God put it at the right time, because I couldn't have seen it when we first met. Exactly. I was not in that phase of my life. He's smarter than you. Yeah. He's smarter than me. Thank you, God, for, you know, keeping it real with me sometimes. But all that to say, now I'm like on a tangent. Let's talk about titties.
You know, it's so crazy because I was like, I cannot wait to talk about titties.
We're going to talk about titties. So do you want to fill them in on the conversation we were having before? We were
talking about bras. Yes. And we were talking about just
not liking bras. I don't like the feeling, at least. Like, I don't like the feeling of bras.
And this is like a really cotton, like really soft bra that I have on. There's no wires in it or nothing.
I have a sports bra on. I still don't like it. I still don't.
But why'd you put it on low?
You know, like, you know, it is about appearance in a sense. Like, part of it's about being put together.
Yeah.
The feeling of being put together, at least, we'll say it that way. And then, you know, I don't even think it's for the reason that you're gonna say. So
I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say. I'm not busting you out.
I'm gonna say for you.
Okay,
got it. But for me, like, if I can get away without wearing a bra, meaning like you can't really tell it's not drawing attention in any way, then I will not wear a bra. But the moment it's like, to me, visible or like catching attention that I'm not wearing a bra, then I'll be like, dang it, I gotta put a bra on today. Like, man, because I don't want people It's not even about like that I care if people are looking or not. I just don't want it. That's not attention I want.
And you know what's so crazy? I was the total opposite. Because in 2014, I got my nipples pierced.
Okay.
So when you get your nipples
I've heard
pierced,
some bad stories about infections with that and stuff.
I feel like they were infected the whole time I had them in. But anyways, I took them out.
Okay.
That was part of the whole things. But I was like, God, you hate me. Was he made me take my nipple pierced out. But I used to want everyone to see that they were pierced because I'm like, I love them. I think they're so cute, whatever. And I was getting all the attention, you know, that comes from that. And a lot of it I hated because of the way that I got the attention, but also in my warped mind, it was like, but I'm getting attention though.
Ooh.
So like, even though it's not necessarily the kind of attention I desire.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this part. Yeah.
It's attention.
It is. I get that.
You know?
I absolutely get that.
And so I was always like not wearing bras, very intentional on, I don't care if you can tell I'm not wearing a bra. I don't care if you see my whole areola. I don't care.
Because it's about me. It's not for you. Me. But in reality, we want that attention.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, lying. But anyways, so when I would go home to Stockton and go to like my church that I grew up in, I would wear things that I would think would like kind of mask that I wasn't wearing a bra. So it wasn't like I might wear a t-shirt under my dress. There's an extra layer. So I'm not just trying to be all out there, but I'm still not wearing a bra. And they were all the time like, you need to wear a bra. You need to wear a bra. You need to. This
when you say people are saying it, is it like the moms and aunties of the church?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yes. And my mom, she's like the prayer warrior of all prayer warriors, the intercessor of all intercessors, and also she has dreams and she foretells the future.
Okay.
Yeah, that's her gifts, right? And she just like, it's okay, you know, God will work it out. That's her response. Like, God will work it out. Like, she did not worry about me at all. Everybody else is all like, why does she not wear a bra? Why don't you say anything? And like telling my mom how to be my mom.
Yeah.
She never.
Well, that's powerful of your mom.
Never
to be like,
pressed
I don't
me.
accept that.
Yeah, I know she didn't like it, but she's like, I'm not gonna like badger her about it. Like, it's not gonna change the situation by me always on her about not wearing a bra. So they're like, you're not wearing a bra, always on me. And then one day after, I don't remember when this was, like between October and now, but like somewhere in that journey, my first lady that I grew up with in church gave my mom some bras to give me that she couldn't fit anymore.
Oh, okay.
So she didn't buy them, like she couldn't fit them anymore, so she gave me some some other clothes too. It wasn't just bras, it was bras, some dresses, like some stuff.
Yeah.
And like I still wasn't wearing it, and then like one day I got dressed and I was like looking at my full length mirror in my room, and I'm like, I don't like this, I'm gonna go put on a bra.
Just like a snap.
It was just like like, I'm going to go eat my breakfast. I'm going to go drink water. I'm going to put on a bra. I don't like the way I look right now.
In that moment, did you notice that it was a difference in how you would normally see yourself with or without a bra? Or was it later that you were like, like that just happened? Like,
yeah,
hindsight.
I think it was later.
Okay.
I think it was like when I came home and I took it off. And I was like,
have I been wearing this all day? Like,
yeah. And it's like, I started to like, be like, oh, people say these are in-house clothes and these are like outside clothes. Like, I never had that concept. I'm like, why do I have to like not wear it outside? Like, it's their fault because they're over sexualizing me. Like, I don't know, like why I should have to change myself because of these perverted people. Like, has nothing to do with me.
There's a truth to both of those, right?
Truth to both of those. Like, they should work on themselves and not be horrible people, and nobody should do anything. And also, it's like, if I am looking a certain way and presenting myself a certain way, and then a person that has no respect and no regard for human life or dignity then does something about that, I couldn't have stopped that because they're going to do it regardless. But I could have presented myself a little bit differently. And so they didn't do that, you know?
Okay.
That's like what I've been wrestling with a little bit.
It is challenging because I will say, especially as women of color, I believe that we are hypersexualized in
as
society.
Children.
Yeah, like ridiculously. It is ridiculous. But
Facts.
it's the same way, I say same, in a similar way to the other issues in systems that we have in life. So when we talk about systemic racism, systemic racism within housing and real estate and things like that, you know, same ideas of like, these are issues of oppression, but and thank you for that catch. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that the original truths that we hold about ourselves should reflect those oppressions. So it's almost like we're in this gray space. So I, to the point of not judging, right? Like, I'm not going to judge you for your choices in life, your coping mechanisms, even like Absolutely whatever it is. If you're not harming me, if you're not harming my family, like, do what you do. Do I want better for the people I love, for even strangers? Of course.
Absolutely. Right.
Of course.
Right.
But all I can control is myself. That's it. I can't
and
control
if I'm
how
going
you respond
home
to me.
And crying that I'm not getting anyone that wants to give me any type of attention that's not sexual, but I'm presenting myself in a very sexual way, there's a disconnect there.
It's just being aware of how you're coming off. So you still have the choice of how you want to present yourself.
Yep.
And there's no judgment about that choice because it's your choice.
Yep.
But you got to be aware of how you're presenting yourself to the world, because if you're receiving something you don't like, there's usually a reason to trace back to.
No victim blaming.
No victim
ever
blaming
in life, especially
no.
I just wanted to put that in there.
Of course not, and I get that. Of course not, and I get that. It's like, because I still don't wear bras most of the time. It's like, it's not about the bra. Like, it really isn't. It's not about the bra, but it is about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's when I got home, I was like, I get it now. I get the concept of house clothes. There's certain dresses that we'll never ever see outside ever again, because you can see every dimple in my butt possible, and all my cellulite and every stretch mark.
And see, I might still wear some of them dresses. I just prefer to do it when I'm with my man, because there's this different level of protection.
Listen,
and I'm representing him. You know what I mean?
I'm single, right? And I've been telling myself there's some things I have in my closet that I'm like, I wouldn't wear this as a single woman, but you know, my man,
it's gonna come back eventually.
It's gonna come out, because you know, I don't want that, but you know, with this man next to me, what you gonna do? But yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, to catch him, I don't want him getting caught by the cellulite. I want him to get caught because I have a beautiful smile and he can feel it. I'm warm and kind and all those things.
Yep. Like, I'm gonna draw you in with my house clothes.
I'm gonna draw you in. No, because I'm
the opposite. You don't get to see my house clothes until you see my outside clothes.
You don't get to see my house clothes until you see my outside clothes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be cute.
Right.
Even right now, you know what I'm saying?
Be cute without.
I got on my hooker boots. I got on my, my shorts, a little flare shorts, but they're long enough to, even if I do a little bend down, nothing's gonna show. Clutch it, fly.
Clutch it. I know, as my man tells us what time we're at, and he wasn't even here when I'm like,
titties.
Yeah, this is gonna be exciting when you listen later. Talking about how fine he is and all this stuff.
He's gonna love that little replay.
Yep, it's great. But anyways, okay, so we've talked about kind of that healing journey piece and the ugliness of it in reality, the ugly work that has to happen behind the scenes before you start seeing the pretty pieces of our healing journey externally. We've talked about our faith journeys and even how that's transformed from childhood, of the beliefs we told ourselves then, and returning to our first love with Jesus and that experience. We've talked a little bit about prayer life and what that looks like to intercede and not listen to the lies, right? So, as we start wrapping it up, I know you've talked a bit about kind of when you first started having clients in therapy, but I'm curious in terms of tips for people who are maybe hearing this and realizing, like, you know what, I've been saying I'm on my healing journey, but I am just doing the coping mechanisms. I'm not really healing from within. Like, can you help us or give us some tips on where to start or what that mindset shift looks like?
Absolutely. Be reasonable. I think a lot of times we try to rush people and we expect people that were just doing one thing to then all of a sudden go all the way over here. It's very important why I said, like, about the bra thing. Nobody had to tell me when I wanted to wear one. No one had to tell me. I just felt like I want to wear a bra today, like, because this is what I think modest is now. Versus then, that it would have never worked. So you have to give yourself time. So if, for example, someone is smoking every day and they don't want to smoke anymore, they're like, I want to try to feel my emotions. Okay, try not to smoke one day, and if you feel anything, just sit with it for 5 minutes. If after 5 minutes, you're like, I can't take this anymore, I need to go smoke. And then tomorrow, make that 10 minutes. Then make it 15 minutes. Then make it 20 minutes. And eventually, you're not going to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to give ourselves grace and time and space and not be so hard on ourselves, even if we mess up. Because I literally, after that experience, I just stopped smoking. I didn't smoke a day after that. I haven't smoked or drank any hard liquor all year. But that's not everybody's situation.
Right.
That's not everybody's story. So you have to give yourself the grace to understand that things are in increments. Things are in time. And if you believe and you just have the faith, not only in your ability to partner with God to enact change into your life, but that God is the ultimate, the supreme healer, the supreme deliverer of any struggle, any anxiety, any worry, any fear, any of the root reasons why you even go to the coping mechanism, whatever that is, shopping, sex, weed, alcohol, whatever, partying, whatever it is for different people. That as you journey with God and as you move along your individual, personal, one-to-one relationship, that things will happen.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So then I think my last question to you, and then you can add anything that's on your heart, but my last question to you, since we kind of started with young Lacey being told you didn't really see that. In those moments, if you can like just kind of put yourself back in that moment of kind of receiving that rejection almost when you're sharing a gift, what now would you tell Lacey then?
Now we having a therapy session. No, but honestly, I would tell her that this is going to sound so churchy, but everything that was meant to harm you, God is using it right now. And I would tell her that every tear you cry is worth $1 million. Is worth your weight in gold. It's worth so much, because the things that you feel right now are temporary. The situation that you're in are temporary, and there is a plan for your life. There is a calling and a purpose for you to live. And you might not see that. You might not understand that. And as I tell this to you, you might not believe it. But I know that it's true. And all you have to do is keep living. Keep fighting, keep writing, keep being who you are. And there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with feeling. It's the way God created you for a purpose and for a reason. And one day you'll know why. And I'm just so grateful that I'm sitting here now, 27 years old, and I've gotten to that one day, because I absolutely know why.
Oh, that's powerful. One day. Well, that's my last question for you before we wrap it up. So is there anything else on your heart that you want to share?
I just want to say, if there's anyone listening to this, I'm going to look at you. If there's anyone listening to this and you're like, this faith thing, this Jesus thing, I've tried it before, I've thought about it, and it just does not work for me. Like, kind of how I was, like, cool, I love that for you, Lacey, that sounds great, but that's not going to happen to me ever. I just encourage you to try one more time. That man, that woman, that person that was raggedy, that cheated on you 5 times, that gaslit you, that walked out of your life, that didn't text you back, whatever, you gave them 1 million chances. Give yourself 1 million chances. Give God 1 million chances. And allow yourself to get into communities and spaces where people not only affirm that you're okay as you are, but also encourage you through who they know you can be and uplift you to become that person. That's all I have to say.
Period. I could not have said it better. Lacey, thank you for sharing your journey with us, for giving us some of the juice, the laughs. I needed the laughs today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
thank you.
I'm sure there's going to be people listening who would love to connect with you. So can you tell them where they can find you?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at written, WRITTEN, by Lacey Rochelle, LACEYROCHELLE. And you also can go to my website, LaceyRochelle.org, if you want to check out my book. And God bless you.
Yeah. And, of course, we're having the conversation on the healing, but seriously, go check Lacey out, because she has a book, right? We're talking poetry nights. Like, that's where we first met, actually, through our common friend, Jay. Thank you, Jay, for introducing us. I got to hear Lacey really speak powerfully the first time I met her. So you don't want to miss out on just experiencing her creativity from a million different aspects. So Lacey, I feel honored that you came on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll call that a wrap. We did it. Thank you for tuning in to the Here to Uplift podcast. New episodes are airing every week with some bonus episodes in between too. So make sure you stay tuned by subscribing, following, liking, and engaging with us to let us know what topics you're most interested in and what might inspire you along this journey. We're going to keep working hard on our end because we are here to uplift not only ourselves, but our community too, and that includes you. So I can't wait for you to hear the next episode. But for now, do your thing, let's get it, and let's keep moving forward. Uplift yourself, friends. You got this.